Let's talk about this story here from the Post-Millennial. Trump slams corrupt legal system following acquittal of Michael Sussman. Our legal system is corrupt, Trump wrote. Right. So perhaps Trump will get reelected and then he'll start firing all of these people. We'll see. This is a story from CNN. Hillary Clinton campaign lawyer Michael Sussman was acquitted Tuesday of lying to the FBI in the first trial of special counsel John Durham's investigation. The verdict is a major defeat for Durham and his Justice Department prosecutors, who have spent 3 years looking for wrongdoing in the Trump-Russia probe. He claimed Sussman lied during a 2016 meeting in which he passed a tip to the FBI about Donald Trump and Russia. The D.C. federal jury deliberated for 6 hours over 2 days before reaching its verdict. The Sussman case revolved around his September 2016 meeting with James Baker, a friend who was the FBI's general counsel. Sussman passed along a tip that led to a 4-month FBI inquiry into a possible internet back channel between the Trump Organization and Kremlin-linked Alpha Bank. Both companies denied the claim, and the FBI didn't find any improper links. And we learned from testimony that Hillary Clinton signed off on it, that many high-powered, high-profile Democrats were deeply involved in this. The story was complete BS, but apparently the FBI already knew, so it was a waste of everyone's time. If this is all Durham has, I can't say I'm surprised, but maybe something else will happen. I would be surprised if there was any accountability. What I find fascinating is that you have people who spread a lie, which cost the federal government, what was it, 50 million, 35 million for the Mueller investigation.
So much.
This guy misrepresents who he's working with, claiming, I believe that what he was claiming, he wasn't working with any campaign, but he was working for the Clinton campaign. No problem. But what about Peter Navarro right now being subpoenaed to testify before the grand jury, threats of putting him in jail like Steve Bannon if they don't come and testify? I hate to say it. Double standard.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, look, it's not just that it was a waste of everyone's time. It was actually an attempted insurrection. The purpose was to remove a democratically elected president from the office the people of this nation decided he should have through the legal process.
It was a political insurrection attempt.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I think anyone involved in this, we should file some 14th Amendment lawsuits.
Seriously.
About their eligibility to run for office.
Seriously. I mean, none of those people should still have a job. That is, I mean, it's unbelievably heinous. And of course, the media helped them along every single step of the way. I mentioned a poll on the show the other day when they polled Democratic voters. They found 50% of them believed Russia literally hacked voting machines in the United States and changed the votes. That's how paranoid people got over this.
In 2016? They thought that happened in 2016?
That's what they believed happened in the 2016 election. And no one got banned from big tech. No one was told that was a conspiracy theory they couldn't spread. No one had their life destroyed over it.
Quite the opposite.
Yeah, exactly.
They won awards
for it. Promoted. They won awards for it.
Man.
Exactly. And so one thing I find a little bit interesting is that when the previous president was accused of some sort of election fraud, we investigated the president. When this president was accused of the same thing, we investigated the people accusing him.
Amazing.
Yes. Yeah. And everybody was insane who believed that was any possibility whatsoever, that Joe Biden didn't get 81 million votes.
You're not allowed to say that. You're not allowed to question the narrative, the official news stories. But again, in 2016, I mean, you still have people saying these things online. And I've got some questions for Google and YouTube. You've got people on YouTube right now that will say that they believed the Russia narrative and all that stuff, but that's okay because the New York Times said so, right? So they're allowed to say that. But if you're a Trump supporter and you say something about 2020, you're gone.
You're allowed to question it, because for instance, Dominion, private company, tallying votes in private. We don't know what they did, and that's the problem in my eyes. I question, what did they do? But making claims about it is where things start to get tricky when it comes to social media administration.
Think about this. In the Trump fraud narrative, people were spreading this admittedly ridiculous story about servers in Germany and like a CIA shootout and all that stuff. And they were like, what's going on? And it's like, where does this stuff come from? And then you have Donald Trump running a secret server with a German bank because he was an asset of Vladimir Putin since the 1980s. And I'm like, dude, you actually had, I think it was Jonathan Chait, is his name, who said Donald Trump may be a Soviet asset. He said Donald Trump may have been a Russian asset since the 80s. And I'm like, that was the Soviet Union, dude. Like he's still a part of whatever's going on.
Yeah, him and Tulsi Gabbard.
And that was mainstream. That was MSNBC. That was New York Mag. Totally acceptable to say. And then a bunch of people with MAGA hats on said something equally as absurd. And they were like, wow, look at those crazy people. Look what they believe. I don't see how we hold this country together, man.